Hello and welcome to Three Sisters One Heart podcast. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Heather.
And you guys, it's been quite some time. We have been under stay-at-home orders. We've actually, here in Florida, have been, sorry about that wobbly camera action. we got a new setup. We're working on some new things, and as per usual,
Our she shed location was a little bit too toasty.
It's getting hot. But so as I was saying, we've been out of stay-at-home orders, or like easing out of it, for 2-3 weeks now. We're going into our third week.
Yeah.
So we're finally coming together to do a little coffee chat
Recap.
update. Yeah. I think our last topic we talked about was illness and how we all deal with it a little bit differently, which is kind of funny because the topic did come up because of the coronavirus, and at the time it was still far away from us. You know.
Yeah, I don't think anybody had any idea that it was going to become what it did.
What
or
big
has.
as it has been.
Right. So let's get into it. How have you guys been feeling about all of this? Because I think before, feeling like it was so far away, it was a little bit more like we were more able to accept it or feel okay with it. But now that it's closer to home and you know, a little,
It's real. There's
scarier,
no way to disassociate yourself with it. Like, it's very much your life. It's affecting
You
every
just-
last bit
You
of
have to
everything that you're
change
doing.
your ways. You can't just be willy-nilly about stuff. You've got to think about what you're doing more. You've got to be more cautious, be more hygienic.
were you guys like surprised when they actually gave the order?
Yes.
A little bit.
A little bit. Like, it was pretty quick. We went from, we're doing okay in Florida, it's coming, but we're doing okay, to, no, like, you're required to stay in your homes, you have to wear face masks, and, you know,
Yeah.
obviously we were already washing. We have kids, like, you're washing all the time.
Yeah, I pretty early on kind of like, I did lock down the kids pretty early on.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were very diligent.
But as soon as I wasn't supposed to go anywhere, that's whenever I was like, holy crap, like, this is more than just some really bad flu.
Right.
And luckily, I don't think that I know anybody that's been,
No,
like,
nor
that's
do
gotten
I.
it.
Fortunately.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate in that, but we did try our best to stay away from everybody. I will say it was much easier for me than it was for my husband.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was almost like as soon as somebody told you can't go somewhere,
You want to.
you want to go all the
Oh,
places.
yeah.
Because I'm pretty much an introvert. Like,
Same.
Not me.
I'm a homebody. I'm totally fine staying home until somebody tells you that you have to.
And then it's, hey, want to go to breakfast?
Yeah.
Let's go get breakfast. And we're like, we're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that a little bit. So I personally, through all of this, have gone through a lot of different emotions and even had feelings that I was surprised I was having. I am an extrovert and very social person. So I went through phases during the lockdown where I was like, this is fine, we're all fine. Like, I was just constantly telling myself we're fine, and almost like numbing my brain to what was really going on, to then being like, oh my god, this isn't fine. Oh my god,
Yeah.
XYZ could happen. What if this happens? What about the kids? What about family? I worry so much about the people I care about, like most people do.
couldn't let myself do that because I was driving myself insane. I had to block
Oh,
it
yeah.
all, and I was just basically go with everything. Just go with the flow.
Yeah.
We prevent what we can and let the rest just fall into place. I
get
can't
that.
control if somebody else gets it. I can help if they do. I can drop off them foods and medicines, but I can't control anything out of that.
You're right. And it's hard because it's not like something we can see,
Yeah.
you know?
I think
interesting.
as soon as, like, I remember, like, 2 days before they shut down the offices and all the actual stay-at-home order went into place, I was talking to my boss and I was like, this is crazy. Like, they're making such a big deal out of nothing. Like, it's a flu. It's
Right,
fine.
right.
And I was like, oh, how wrong I was. Like,
I know, I think we all felt like that a
Yeah.
little bit. honestly.
So,
Work. Yeah, how has that been for you guys?
I'm finally going back to work tomorrow.
I'm
so excited.
Yeah.
I have homeschool for... Oh, goodness, people.
We're gonna have to start over.
Nah, we're fine.
Blooper.
That's right.
We
keep
quit
it real.
Shaking.
Anyways,
I'll have to edit and
she's
start
so
back over.
excited to go back to work.
I've been cooped up for 2 months now, without work, just being teacher and mom and everything else, and
trapped at home.
trapped at home. I'm so ready to go back to work and be around adults.
I've had a harder time than I thought. I thought that I wanted to work from home. Back a while ago, whenever I was job searching, I was actually looking at remote positions.
Yes, I remember.
Turns out it's not at all like what I thought it was. Which, of course, curveball. I wasn't anticipating my kids being home all day and having to play teacher as well.
Right.
So
We'll talk about that in a
that
minute.
changed everything, of course. But it kind of sounds like my work will never go back to normal. We've gone remote, and that's it. So it's hard. I didn't like I said, I'm an introvert, so I didn't really have like that many friends at work or anything like that. But there definitely was. You take for granted like the little bit of time that you get in the break room to chat about whatever, and there's not a kid asking you for something or needing something. Like, I actually missed that, and I didn't think that I would. So
How about like that you time on your drive? Like you commute
that's been
to
a big
work.
one for me because I do require a lot of alone time. Like it's like my like decompress.
Yeah.
And I used to commute to work, so it would be at least a 45-minute drive, depending on traffic. So it was an hour and a half every day that I got in complete silence if I wanted it. And I don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
At all. So that's been a struggle. I didn't realize how important that was to me. Actually, I thought it was something that I disliked. But
I get that. Like the
commute.
traffic and stuff.
and dealing with traffic and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of miss that. So we'll see how it goes. We may eventually open the office back up, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they're going to be going down to where there's like only so many desks, and it won't be your own desk. It's like if you have to go into the office for some reason, if you have a meeting or this, that, or the other, it's pretty much shared workspaces. Like there's desks available to work at if you need to. But for the most part, we are all remote.
You think like a lot of companies are probably going to go to that model, and I don't think that it's probably only because of the virus and stuff that's going on. I think that honestly, fiscally or financially, it's going to be a little bit better for them.
Yeah, it's harder to manage people, of course, when you're dealing with remote work. You have to rely on people to be self-starters, and a lot of people just aren't. They do thrive in those situations where they're being supervised. But I think that more often than not, people do really well. I like the flexibility. If I want to work 7 to 3, if I want to work 9 to 5,
Right.
Granted,
Kinda
typically
make your
I
own
work
hours.
7 to 5, but I definitely enjoy the flexibility, and I find that I get more done without the office chatter and the meetings that should have been emails.
Right. That's funny.
Are you now realizing how many meetings
Oh,
could have
yeah.
actually been emails?
I mean, I knew it all along, but it's super gratifying to get that proof.
Right.
That everything, it's not, I don't know. Here, scoot over a little bit. I feel like you're cut off. But,
You can't.
there you go. It's just going to be one of those days. We're getting back in the swing of things. We're seeing how this goes.
But honestly, were we ever really in the swing of things?
No.
I feel like we've always just been a little bit hanging on by
Fly
a
by the
thread,
seat of our pants kind of thing.
which is fine. It's fine. It's our podcast. It's
We
our
can do it how we
YouTube.
As long
want
as we
to.
laugh
we
with,
want.
ourselves, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our time to
So
decompress.
for me as a nanny, I was kind of nervous because I work with children, and it's been really scary thinking about you know, as parents protecting our children, even though they say that children aren't as susceptible, doesn't mean that they aren't susceptible. And so I was really worried that I was going to be out of work. And I also struggled in that first like couple days if it was morally sound for me to be going to work when we were under orders to shelter in place or shelter in home or whatever it was called, stay safe, stay home. It's something different for all the states, but it basically means the same thing.
They all have their own slogan.
But the people I work for, they were, one of them did stay home from work. One of them worked in an office with not many other people, and so it was fine for them to continue going to their job. And it's been fine. It's been fine. I was a little worried at first. I did have to like go in under, you know, the governor's order, and I just had to double check because we talked about this before. I'm not spontaneous, and even though I might seem like a little alternative and stuff, like to a big extent, I'm still a rule follower, and it comes from a place of like wanting to do my best and in a sense of pride and also not wanting to carry that guilt. Yeah. But it did say as a
childcare
worker that it was
You're
okay.
An essential.
And then came up with the mask thing, and then I thought, oh God, how am I gonna do like work with masks? Luckily, my employers, they never ever asked me or required me to wear masks. I work with children that are 3 and just turned 1, so you can't communicate. You really can't communicate properly with children of that age, especially when they're learning, you know, learning their human interactions and learning
they
through
rely
facial
so much
expressions.
on those facial expressions and that enunciation and seeing
so
your mouth movement.
Of course, and I was worried about that, but that's been fine. I haven't had to mask up with them. I have washed and washed and washed. We have been washing so much. But luckily I've been working, and my husband also, he's been working. He works for the hospital, but he works in like a, what do they call it? An elective. It's not like he doesn't work in the emergency room or something. It's like an elective.
It's like a sleep lab. So
it's
an elective
thing.
building.
So they like the hospital shut down all of the elective based. I don't know what you call it. Hospital
services.
Services. That's a much better word. And so then they were doing a work pool where essentially they had different jobs or different tasks, a lot of them based on the fact that they need positions for stuff that we hadn't needed positions for before. And so he was working triage at some of the COVID testing like pop-up places in Jacksonville.
That was nerve-wracking.
And that was scary, but it's like, what do you say when you aren't sure how long you're going to be out of work? I wasn't sure if I was going to be out of work.
And you want to do your part.
Well, yeah, for sure, but it's also terrifying to think that he could be around patients that are you know, exposed to this. But fortunately, he just started back to his regular job this past week, and he's so happy because he went from working night shift for the past, 12 years to working day shift, and man, he was having a hard time. He was having a hard time. He's very happy to be back to his regular, routine in his regular job. Of course, they are... what do you call it? Where they're giving more space between the patient's arrivals, so they can clean everything.
Not at max capacity. Yeah, they're not taking as many patients. Yeah.
So that has been great, and we are just feel very fortunate because we do know people that are out of work. We know a lot of people in the service industry out of work.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying. We've been there. We've
been
out of work, and it's not easy. And right now it's even harder.
Yeah, as much as I complain about trying to manage work and school and all that, at the end of the day, yes, I'm so grateful to still be working. I did have to take a week off.
Right. Well, mandatory.
Yeah, right. Rather than lay people off, everybody took a week off.
Right.
So it affected everybody the same. And I feel like the company handled it the best that they possibly could in that situation. So I'm definitely happy with that. But it's been a lot. It's hard. It's hard to work through everything. But I am really grateful to have been working.
What about face masks, you guys? Where do you stand on face masks? How do you feel about it?
I can't breathe. I get that that's the point, like but it bothers me because
yeah. I'm right there with you.
If I have them on too long, which is the only downside of going back to work, is I have to wear a face mask all day.
Do you really? I didn't realize that.
So for 8 hours now, I'll have something right, and it bothers my breathing. It heightens my anxiety.
Yeah.
So that's something I struggle with. I'll wear it if I go to Publix or whatever.
Yeah, I've been wearing it at like Publix, and again, I'm a rule follower, so like don't let me catch you coming down the wrong end of the aisle. I'll probably give you a little side eye.
It is anxiety inducing to
Right?
go to the grocery store right now. Like,
It is.
I don't know how many
just
times I
need-
went to like walk and I'm like, oh no, I gotta go around that
But
aisle
people
and come
do
back.
it all the time, and it kills me. Like they have these rules in place for a reason, people.
Yeah. I don't know. So I have a really hard time breathing with them. So personally, I don't. If there's a business that requires it for me to go in, yes, I will without complaint. Like that's absolutely their right as a business to request of somebody.
Yeah.
But like going to the grocery store, I keep my distance from everybody. Like I can't. Like I don't know if it has to do with my anxiety. I don't know if it's like a breathing thing, but like I literally feel like I'm gonna have a panic attack.
Yeah. I'll say that, so again, same thing. I feel I don't have to wear a mask at work, which is very awesome. And I haven't been going anywhere really aside from that. We went to the beach a couple times. We did finally go over and see our parents weekend before last. We just saw everyone again this weekend, but like it's been family mostly.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of friends, but like one-offs here and there.
Yeah.
Like we haven't really been socializing and stuff still, which we're trying to like find that happy medium, because you know, we see on the news there are people that are literally going out and having like giant beach parties and stuff, and like we're not trying to do that, but like at the same time, like I see what you're saying, Heather, with like you still have to like live, like we have to still live.
Yeah, it's like what's our new normal? How do we get there?
Right. We are the kind of, you know, human animals, like we need that contact, we need that socialization.
Even someone who's antisocial realize that they need at least a little bit through all this.
Well, and I think that's what Shannon was saying. Like, as much of an introvert as she feels she is, was missing people and stuff too, and missing that like little interactions with coworkers and stuff. So
I find myself like being like chatty with like the cashier at the grocery store. Like I'm just desperate for anything. Like just talk to me. How's your day?
that's too
Are you doing okay? So but yeah, I mean, as far as masks go, like I understand it, but I mean, I just would rather keep my distance from people.
Same. I'll say this too, that as a friendly, social, open type of person, I am a talker, I am a hugger, but like I have like changed a little bit.
Yeah,
with all
because
of
you
this.
can't be that way right now.
I'm more suspicious. Like, oh, don't come too close.
Anybody could have
Don't
it.
come too close.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, and it's hard for me because it almost feels like where I was freely trusting before, that now I am a little bit paranoid and worried. And so I don't really much care for that feeling. And I feel like the masks like make it seem even more like you're talking to bandits all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is that a criminal? I don't know. I can't see their mouth, so
I have no
there's no
idea.
way to know.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting going to the bank this week.
Oh God.
Yeah.
We have to have masks on.
Oh God. So yeah, that's been really, really interesting. What about, so you guys know we have been super excited about going on this cruise in April.
Yeah.
Which
Obviously
It
did
didn't
not
happen.
happen.
did not happen.
It was gonna be our first vlog, and
I
COVID
know.
ruined it.
We got this awesome ring light though, so
You can see
when
it
we
reflecting.
do go, it's gonna be nice because we'll have to get one of them sticks.
We'll have to get one of the smaller ring lights. This is not realistic to carry around a cruise ship.
No.
Now this is like when we're like
We're gonna have to like bunk in a room together for an hour or
no,
so.
we'll
and
be like
update.
sitting on the deck with our sun hats and our cocktails, and we'll be like, look at us in this ring light. We look so fabulous.
Yeah, eventually, I mean, we still have our cruise reservations.
True.
We've not reset the dates or anything.
I don't think we can yet. Have
no.
you heard
No.
anything? So we have no idea when we're
Yeah.
going.
It very likely will be next year. My poor
I'm
kids.
okay with that.
You know, whenever this whole COVID thing came out, like, and I still thought it was no big deal.
Yeah.
It was like, oh crap, the cruise got canceled, and the original thought process for the cruise was my girl's birthdays.
Right.
And I was like, okay, it's fine. We'll push off the cruise, no big deal. We'll just go to Disney. We'll go to Disney for their birthday.
Oh Lord.
Y'all, when Disney closes, we got problems.
Disney never closes.
Ever. So I think that's the point that I was like, oh God.
Well,
This
is
shit
real.
just got real.
speaking of Disney, though, what do you feel about people going back right now? Because I could
Oh,
not even.
how about the
No.
rules for going back to Disney is you must wear a mask. It is our
Oh,
summer average is good 98 degrees.
It's
98
already getting hot.
degrees
People are gonna be
at a
passing
theme
out.
park.
It's
You're
terrible.
gonna have heat strokes.
People have heat
that's
stroke anyways
insane.
at the theme park.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'll-
now because you can't breathe because your mask is right there.
Yeah, I'll admit that I don't have a better idea, but I can tell you that masks in the middle of Orlando, Florida, all summer long, that's a horrible idea.
Yeah, it's
You're at a
You're
park for
asking for
10, 12
lawsuits.
hours.
Well, and too, like, I just wonder about, like, I know that having people there is, like, going to bring them some income, but, like, having, like, restricted or smaller amounts of people there, like, how much it must cost to, like, run all of that stuff? Like, is it's like when you're in the restaurant business, is it more cost effective
To be open or closed.
open or closed?
I think that Disney is Disney, and regardless, people are going to go. People have been
Yeah.
cooped up. People are
You're
ready
right.
to go. I think it's probably going to be busier than ever.
The most crazy thing
I
I've
don't
done is go
know.
to the beach.
I've seen a lot of like I'll read the comments on any of like the Disney posts, and a lot of people are extremely reluctant because of having to wear the face mask
Well,
in such
yeah.
high heat.
Especially since
wonder-
a lot of people that are coming are already not used to the heat.
Yeah, they're
Yes.
like traveling and stuff, which is also kind of scary because then you have a melting pot of people that are coming from all different places. Ugh. I
Yeah.
can't.
I'm going to take a hard
Freaks me
pass
out.
on Disney for a while.
Yeah. Any
Anything like that.
yeah, any amusement parks and stuff, I think too. I wonder if
I'm
there'll
saying
be
you
like
can keep your distance out of spring though. Just go floating down a river.
I like that.
Yeah.
I could do that. We could do that as a family maybe.
That would be
We're
fun.
already in close quarters with each other. Like we close, look at us.
Can't get any closer.
So like we could maybe do that. That would be
Yeah.
fun. I'm totally down.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to plan something
Outdoorsy things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open air, hot sun.
with a cabin that has AC.
Oh, we going
Oh, yeah.
we going camping?
We glamping.
I'm all right with that.
Glamping.
The older I get, the
Glamping,
more into glamping I am.
I'm not sleeping on the ground. in a
See, you
tent,
notice
I'm
I didn't
sorry.
say a whole lot, but now I'll go.
She
I'm
doesn't
not
camp.
about that camping life.
She'll
No.
glamp though. It's okay.
My husband wanted to buy a camper whenever Mom first got theirs. He wanted to get one. He was like, "We'll go with them," and I was like, "No, we won't."
maybe next year he'll be over the boat and you'll get a camper.
Maybe. The boat
This which brings us to the boat.
is my husband's COVID baby.
Oh, that's a funny way to put it.
It's how he's been keeping himself
Has
busy.
he named it? Does the boat have a
Oh,
name?
it
Is
does.
Is it Quarantina?
It's not. It was his dad's boat, and it's
Oh, it already
been,
had a
Oh,
name.
it had-
Yeah.
Can't rename it.
It's just been sitting, so it needed a lot of work. I mean, it's a very good boat. It just
Boats always
maintenance
need to work.
things
yeah.
that.
It's
So
just part
he's
of
been
it.
very much into working on the boat, and I couldn't tell you half of what he did. I've seen the Amazon though.
Ooh.
It's intense, but whatever. It makes him happy and it keeps him home. So, what else can you do?
He stays home with the boat?
Well, I mean, for the most part.
Well,
I mean,
he
he takes the
takes it
boat
out.
out.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's not trying to go out into all the stores like he was.
Oh yeah, he was having a little
Yeah.
of a tough time.
Yeah, he had a really hard time. Like, let me tell you, this man does not know the inside of a grocery store. I do everything, and that's okay. Like, that's just how it's built my life. Is that he
It's like that
doesn't
for me,
need to
too.
do those things. But Corona completely changed that. Because he's like, I'll go to the store. What do you need? Like, because he is 100% an extrovert, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And he works remotely, so that was easy for him anyway. And I mean, nothing changed, except now all of a sudden he had all of us around all the time, which I thought would drive him crazy. Turns out he's thriving.
My husband too.
But again, it was one of those. As soon as somebody said that he couldn't, then he's like, "Oh, but I've got to."
Don't we need like a frozen
Yeah.
pizza or something? Let me
Right.
just run to Publix real quick.
And it would
you're
be
like,
like,
we're supposed to
A
stay
frozen
home.
pizza here. Oh, you need body wash? I'll go now. Like little every little excuse. Like, wait till you need a couple of things and then you go to the store. He's like, oh no.
Yeah, I'll say that too. Like I feel like our grocery bill has been insane. And I know some things
Mine's
are...
not been bad.
Well, I know some things are going up a little bit, but what it is instead of go to the grocery store 2, sometimes 3 times a week, if I were like on the weekend, I'm like, let me just make something special and fun for dinner. I'll go another time, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to only go once a week. And so, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Our bill has been like, it's been $300 a couple of times.
Yeah. I don't think
I've only had one super high, and the rest is just, oh, I forgot to grab one of these. Let me go grab this.
Well, also, the kids have been home.
Yeah.
So they're, you know, they're snacking and stuff more than when they're at school. So I think that's part of it. Plus they're teenagers. What can you do?
Yeah. The whole schooling, being at home all the time is making me crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Which we can talk about that a little bit. So we've been doing the distance learning thing. Actually, we all just finished. Are you finished?
Mine are done.
No, mine are until Tuesday.
Okay.
So they're just a week behind.
Yeah. Mine and Heather's, they're all in public school, so like they just finished, but that has been hard.
Yes.
And again, like I have one child who is an introvert, and we'll talk about that a little bit, how our kids are doing through all of this. So like my oldest child is an introvert, and she's in high school, and she at first was doing great. And I thought I was going to have more issues with my younger child. But then as the weeks went on, like I started to notice like her sleeping patterns were off, but she's a teenager. So at first it wasn't like too worrisome.
Yeah.
But then it was like I was barely seeing her in like 3 days. And like I have to like find her in her room. And I had to be like, when's the last time you went outside? When's the last time you had some sun on your skin? Like you're looking a little Nosferatu-y, like, you know, I love you. Are you okay? And she said she's fine, but obviously she needs to get out more. So I had to start making it like mandatory. Like you have to go outside and get some sun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you have to. And that helped a little. She did okay with the distance learning, but then towards the end, she started to struggle because she was putting things off. And I feel like my youngest daughter, she struggled a lot with the distance learning, but also with the social aspect of things. She is
Yeah.
also an extrovert, and she learns best in a more social setting and like hands-on. She's more of a hands-on learner, and so she was struggling missing people, and I'll be honest, she was driving me nuts. Like I'm still working, so that's another thing. They've been at home during school hours and I'm at work, and then I come home and she's just like, what's going on? What are you doing? What's going on? You know, like hyped almost.
How's
because
the
she's-
outside world?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
literally seen nobody. I don't think my kids left the yard, you know, for probably an entire month.
Yeah, no,
Easy.
mine didn't.
Easy. So she was struggling. She was struggling missing people. She was struggling with school because she just has a really hard time focusing and just sitting there on the computer reading through a bunch of stuff. It was hard for her. Like it got to a point where, thank goodness Heather was at home, and I was like, look, I don't know what to do. I can't, I don't have the time because I'm at work. Like I can't sit with her during
And
these
make sure that
crucial
she's
hours.
on task.
Yeah.
And when I come home at night, it's like
She's done
She's
anything.
done. Well, she's not done anything, but also like she's just done for the day. Like she's worn down from staring at the computer all day. But then there was like lessons and stuff that it was taking her 2 hours to complete. That's like, you know, that they could get through it in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she literally just zones out. Like, and she's always been like that, but it just really was, it was really hard. And so I'm really curious with what they're
Yeah.
going to do this upcoming year.
I
No
am having a
idea.
hard time because Aubriana she's my less social one. She definitely likes her friends and stuff, but she wasn't super affected. But she really enjoys learning. So she'd get her schoolwork, knock it out, no problem. Zoe, on the other hand, is definitely my social butterfly. 100%. She's all about her friends, so she's struggling. Like, she cries on the last day of school because she hates it and that she's going for summer. So she's having a harder time. And I don't really know, like, it's not that she doesn't care about school, but I think she's just having a harder time transitioning to needing to be more independent.
Yeah.
And not having somebody say, okay, this is what we're doing right now. This is what we're doing right now. Like, so we had some issues, which she worked them out. It took us a couple of weeks. But she worked them out, and the past 3 weeks she's done really, really well. But it was a tough learning curve, and I don't know. I'm nervous about what next year looks like because.
Me too. Heather, how about your boys?
They, as far as like learning goes, because they're in such lower grades, they're only kindergarten and second. Their schoolwork only took, I think Jack's took an hour, Matt's took about an hour and a half to 2 hours each day. So it wasn't a huge chunk of their day missing out. But it got me thinking, what are they really getting from this then?
They're getting...
Because, I mean, I'm teaching, but it's not the same lesson they would have
because at their
if it was every single day in front of their teacher.
At their age, they're also in school, they're learning...
Their social skills.
They're learning their social skills. And so it was the same when my girls were young and they homeschooled. They would get through their school day, but then at least they had like built-in friends that they like went on like little yard adventures with.
Yeah.
And we did
I only
a lot
have
of fun things.
They
with
are
them.
literally the only kids in the neighborhood.
I know. Well, and it's not like they're allowed to see any kids.
Yeah.
I know.
We
That's
had hard. I don't know what we're gonna do coming up because I've seen what they put out.
Did you take a survey?
I didn't have a survey, but I've seen like what the guidelines are supposed to be.
I haven't
keeping
seen
kids 6 feet apart at school is impossible. I don't care. We even go to private school, and it's smaller class sizes, and even that is unreasonable.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about my kids wearing a mask. Like, I understand that we need to find something.
My 6-year-old is not going to wear a mask all day.
That's what I was going to say. There's no way. He can't even sit still.
Well,
can you imagine?
I don't know the logistics behind it. I'm definitely not a scientist or a doctor, but breathing in that air and not having that airflow for 8 hours a day, for a kid especially, that just can't be healthy. So depending on what the next year looks like, we might actually be doing virtual school.
Same.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but like I'm a little unsure about all of this too because they're like what was I gonna say? If they have to like stay home, like they're not going to be able to do it on their own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to probably
come
step
to
back.
Aunt Heather's school.
Or maybe they'll come to Aunt Heather's school. That might be a good idea if that's the way it works out. I was going to say, or like,
it's gonna have to be
someone is going to have to be home with them. Period.
Yeah.
And that's kind of scary.
But at the same
what about
time,
other parents
that's helping. Nova can help me at the same time with the younger kids and stuff that I'm like, how am I supposed to teach this to them? She remembers a little more than I do.
Zoe likes to make fun of me because anytime it tends to be in math.
Oh, Google has been my friend.
Right. But I'm going to tell you, a long division, I don't know. I have Excel. I haven't needed to do that in years. And I work in finance. But either way, and I roughly remember. But I always make sure to watch the lesson before I help her with the problem because I want to make sure that I'm teaching her in the way that they're teaching her.
It's totally different.
Oh, I
there's so many different
100% taught Matthew old school math.
My kid
He
thinks
was
I'm
so
an idiot.
confused, but I was like, look, this is an easier way. He was like, well, why don't we just do it that way? I'm like,
you got to be
do it this
careful
way,
though because the math is a big deal. Like
he's already wired that way.
Well, and then if he doesn't work it out on paper the certain way, sometimes they get counted against for that.
Yeah.
Well, his teacher never counted against. She
That's
let it
good.
all go by. But there were no like built lesson plans of her saying, this is how we're doing the math. This is this.
Oh,
so it was just like, hey, do these pages in this math book.
Yeah.
That was it.
Wow.
I'm like, what do you...
Nova struggled a little bit with some
school
stuff like that too because she's chemistry and she's like, I just don't get it. Like we're given this material, but like there's no one explaining it to me.
Yeah.
So and I think that God bless the teachers because I know they're doing the best that they can.
Yeah.
But there's still some kind of loss there, and it's like our kids in public school, they go back August 10th, and I'm just wonder like how they're going to work it all out. So we got those surveys. Did you not get a survey?
No.
Check your email.
Well, my concern is that there are people take kids on any same grade level. Heather was able to sit with her kids and work it out with them and teach him what he needed. It may not have been exactly as the school would have done it or whatever, but she did. She was able to be involved.
Right.
There are others that were not able to do that.
No.
So now these kids going to the next grade are not at the same level.
100% no.
Like, then what do you do? Now you got all these kids at different levels.
Yeah.
So, and again, I don't know the better answer. I don't know if, I feel like they ended up rounding grades anyway. Why did we have to do all this? I don't know. And one thing that did piss me off is Aubriana's teacher would send out like the checklist pretty much of what she does on Monday, what she does on Tuesday, and then the following Monday, first thing in the morning, she would send like out a checklist for you to compile it all together and turn it in. And I realized that there was a good chunk of stuff that Aubriana was doing that was not being even turned in or graded.
Busy
Now,
work stuff.
In the classroom, I understand you need busy work. You need the kids to be working on something so that you can give one-on-one to somebody, transitions, a multitude of reasons. We don't need busy work.
No.
At all. If you're not going to grade my kid, don't make her do it. This is hard enough on everybody.
I will say that is something I really enjoyed when my girls were homeschooled, is that if they could work at their own pace to some extent. Like, if they needed to work on, like Nova, for instance, with her chemistry, like if she needed to work for 2 days straight on chemistry, she could. And then she could, go back to the other subjects later.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll say I miss that, whereas school now, they have to like you said, they're like have to keep
Multiple
up. They have to do
subjects each day.
and they have to do the busy work, and like, if they get it, why do they got to do the busy work?
Yeah.
For me, that busy work is to reinforce for people that are having a hard time. Like, for instance, I, as a student, always needed to do that, especially with math. Like, I got to work it out, just so I could get it in my head. But not all kids need that. Mm-hmm. So
And
I can understand how frustrating that is.
And of course, she's my kid, so I think she's like the smartest thing in the world. But like, there's test scores to prove she's very smart.
Right.
Like, she's keeping up well. I don't know. Like, I understand if kids need it, and I understand when you're in the classroom that it just has a lot to do with like how your classroom works,
How the structure of your classroom works.
And I have no problem with that. But whenever we're like, the entire world is just barely getting by as it is, like, cut 'em some slack. Mm-hmm. And don't tell me the last week of school that you're rounding grades anyway, after I've been stressed about making sure everything's turned in.
Oy, oy, oy.
That was... and discount my tuition. Damn it.
Yes, and that's another thing. So, like, because your kids are in private school, so if they do this, like, distance learning thing, are you still going to be paying all of that money?
See, I have a hard time with this. So, with private school, they've not, I don't know about other private schools, but at least ours, they've not discounted tuition in any way. And I understand. The school still has bills. The school still has to pay teachers. Okay. But either way, that contract that I signed, my kids are not getting that education that I signed up for. So, I'm not asking for nothing. I'm just saying, knock $100 off something to make me not feel like I'm getting beat up.
So what do you, like, if they just keep to the same thing for next year, but they
if
are
it goes
still
to distance learning, we will not be returning.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of money every month. We absolutely love the school. I do.
Right.
I like I love that it's faith-based. My kids adore it. Small classrooms, very attentive. It's just amazing. But if they're not in the classroom, pretty much everything that I love about the school is gone.
Mm-hmm. What about, too, like, you're required to do a certain amount of community service hours for your kids and stuff?
They did write off some of those.
I was going to say, how do you do it?
No, they did excuse those.
That's cool.
So that's good. So I guess that was their something. Maybe I should be more grateful. I don't mean to be, like, hateful.
No.
But whenever you're paying that much money and you have to be the teacher.
I think right now, and not just with this whole COVID quarantine, what's happening with this around the world, but there's a lot of things happening in the world right now that are completely make us feel out of control. And it is. And it's a very hard lesson when you are the kind of person like me, for instance, who is a planner, and then all of a sudden everything is just like thrown up in the air. I'm also the kind of person who tries to live in the moment, but it's hard to live in the moment when you
don't know what's happening the next moment.
Yes. So I think it's perfectly normal to like have all of these different emotions and to at least have these like thoughts about things and these uncertainties, because it is uncertain. We have no idea how things are going to go. We have no idea how school is going to go. We have no idea how our day-to-day is going to keep going, depending on how things go with this virus.
And it's stressful to me because I don't want to just go ahead and pull the kids.
Right.
Because what if everything clears up by then and they can go back to normal? I definitely don't take like uprooting them lightly.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I can't justify spending that much money to go pick up a packet, just like every other kid is doing at every other free school.
Right.
It's just like that value that we get from it being a private school is very much dependent on them actually being there.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. I know that my kids are not thrilled with the idea of leaving it, and so I don't want to do that.
Oh yeah.
But
Ani too.
I
I
might
think
not
Nova
have a
would be
choice.
okay, especially if she has someone, because she did again lose touch a little bit as far as like having someone to be like. She had her teachers saying like, this is when things are due, but like to not have someone in person be like, hey, you need to stay on task.
Yeah.
That's different. She's still a kid, and I had to remind myself that like she was kind of upset because she like kind of let some things fall to the wayside, and I was like, it's not on you, dude. I just assumed because you are very good at working independently that you were gonna just be fine with this, and of course she was telling me she was fine, but as a parent, I have to remember she's still a child at 15, and so she needs that someone there with her. I do like the idea, Heather, of if it does work out that way,
of children.
because okay, so there is this like really great article I read. Now it's been many years when I was homeschooling, and it was about the multi-level schoolhouse, and it's basically like a theory based around like Little House on the Prairie type times when all these kids. Which they didn't school for that late in life, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But all the kids from the little ones to the older ones all were in school together. And because of that, there wasn't that kind of, like, you know, in today's kids, it's like the littler ones might get left out a little bit more because they're not old or at the older kids level or however. But with the multi-level schoolhouse theory, the thought is that by allocating different like tasks for the older ones to like help with the littler ones and allowing the little kids to kind of, you know, do their little things and stuff too, that you're actually teaching them to care for each other.
Yeah.
And it builds more of a bond, and socially it breaks down that barrier. So I think that's cool.
My biggest concern is that if we do take them from school, that social element, I've always felt very strongly that it's really important for kids to have. And even just like kind of testing the waters to see like what the kids thought. I thought Aubriana would be all for staying home because she is my shadow and doesn't like leaving for anything. But she's like, but what about my friends? And I'm like, they'll have a phone.
I know, but that's not the same.
No,
I know,
it's not.
Mine too. Even my introvert, like she had a birthday and she was fine. It's cool. But then when it came to like the day of her birthday, she would be embarrassed to hear me say, but she was like upset and she was crying. And I was like, you know, oh, what's wrong? You know, as best as I could, trying to like make it as special as I can.
Yeah.
And she just said, I miss my friends, and like I get it. She's on the phone with them. She's on the phone with them all the time.
Absolutely.
But it is not the same thing, and I understand because I miss my friends too.
Yeah.
So
I think, however, I will say, on an academic level, I'm not concerned for Aubriana. She very much likes school, gets it done, gets in, gets out, whatever. And while with Zoe, we did have a little rocky start. She got to the point that she knew it had to be done. She knew I was checking up on it, that there was no way she was going to slide through not doing it. So she did, you know, own up to it and got it done. But I found that, it, like you were talking about, like, if she needs to spend 3 hours on math and go back for the spelling later, that's fine. That flexibility, she did really well with it. Or if she needed to walk away from the math because it's too much and she needed to go back to it later, there was a huge value in that. So, I don't know. It's just weird not knowing what you're going to do, even in 2-3 months. And it's one thing for me, but it's a whole different level for my kids.
Yeah.
To not be able to tell them, like, what's happening, what's coming. Like,
right.
As a parent, like, that's, like, your job to keep them prepared and let them know what's coming next. I have no idea.
I know, me neither. So
So.
I guess that's kind of where we're at. We're all balls of emotions, feeling all the different ways for different reasons, and just trying to cope, like I'm sure you guys are doing. So
Like, what's the new normal?
yeah, and who knows? I think we're all just going to learn a little bit day by day, and maybe things will get better in some ways, and maybe they'll get harder in others. But we have to remember we're all in this together, and we're all going through these waves of emotions and
Yeah.
stuff. So I guess that's about it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we have a fun topic when we come back next week, and we can go back to our trials and triumphs. Of course, we just wanted to kind of get back into
Like
it,
get back in the groove update.
overall update this week. But glad to see you guys, sort of.
As close
Talk
as
to
we
you.
can safely.
Yeah. And we look forward to talking with you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.